All right. So, uh, it's crazy to think back just a little over 2 years ago when
Yeah.
ChatGPT first came out.
This seems like forever ago.
I mean, it was like we were handed this magic wand, you know?
Yeah.
I remember feeling that initial awe,
Right.
but looking back now,
Yeah.
that first version, it was a bit uh, like a hyper-enthusiastic intern. Like they had all this potential. They knew a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but occasionally they'd wander off on these tangents.
Yeah.
And they definitely weren't ready to run the company.
No.
Very bare-boned, compared to
Right.
the AI sidekick we've got in our pockets today.
For sure. For sure.
And now the rumor mill is spinning faster than a caffeinated hamster
Yeah.
on a wheel
Uh-oh.
about what OpenAI is cooking up next.
Oh, yeah.
GPT-5.
I know. It's so exciting.
Consider this our backstage pass to the next rock concert
Love that.
in the evolution of AI.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, you're right. You're spot on with that intern analogy, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
It really is,
It's true.
it is amazing how fast things are developing.
It is.
Like dizzying.
Yeah,
The original ChatGPT feels like ancient history already.
I know, right?
And for you, our listener, this isn't just like, tech industry gossip.
Right.
The AI landscape is getting really crowded.
It is.
You've got, big players like Google with Gemini, and then ex-Twitter's Grok has jumped into the mosh pit,
They have?
not to mention Claude, which is consistently impressive, and then this really intriguing newcomer DeepSeek.
Interesting.
But even with all this competition, GPT-4o is still widely seen as like the top dog, in terms of capabilities.
The heavyweight champion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So news about its successor
Yeah.
is generating a ton of buzz.
It is.
So our goal in this deep dive is to cut through the noise
Yeah.
and really understand what GPT-5 might bring to the table.
Right.
And why it has the potential to completely change the tech world
Absolutely.
as we know it.
So let's get down to brass tacks.
Okay.
Why is GPT-5 shaping up to be such a huge deal?
Right.
From what we're hearing, OpenAI isn't just going for like a, little upgrade here.
No.
It sounds like they're trying to pull off something much bigger,
Yeah.
like a fundamental unification.
Yeah.
We're talking about bringing together those sophisticated reasoning skills
Okay.
that we saw with those recent Omni models.
Right.
Think of GPT-4o and how
Yeah.
it can handle all these different kinds of information
Yeah.
and marry that with the already amazing language skills
Right.
of the original GPT model.
Yeah, that's the key.
It-
That idea of unification is absolutely crucial.
It is.
I mean, for you, the listener, think about it this way.
Yeah.
Sam Altman himself has hinted that this new model
Uh-huh.
will be able to be generally useful
Wow.
for a very wide range of tasks.
Really?
Now, that might sound like, a pretty modest statement,
Yeah.
but it's actually packed with meaning. It suggests that they're taking another big step
Yeah.
towards what's often called artificial general intelligence.
AGI.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The kind of AI that could theoretically handle almost any intellectual task,
Wow.
as well as a human being.
Really?
It's a big ambition.
It is. So,
Yeah.
okay, so
Yeah.
so here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
So GPT-5, it's not just going to be better at writing text
No.
or even understanding images, right?
Right.
It's aiming for something much more profound.
It is.
We're talking about the potential for AI assistance
Yeah.
powered by this technology
Right?
to genuinely think,
Yeah.
to predict, to plan, to problem solve,
Right.
and analyze with so much more precision
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game.
than just answering questions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Would you agree? Absolutely. And to understand why this is so important for you,
Yeah.
think about how even the most advanced AI we have today
Mhm.
often feels kind of reactive.
Yeah.
You ask a question, it gives you an answer.
Right.
But the idea that GPT-5 will think for longer, deeper, and harder
Wow.
suggests a much more proactive and sophisticated level of processing.
Yeah.
Imagine an AI that can tackle really complex data analysis.
Yeah.
I mean, sifting through massive amounts of information
Yeah.
and drawing really nuanced conclusions,
Wow.
just like a seasoned analyst would.
Yeah.
Or maybe creating more accurate simulations of intricate systems, like
Right.
climate models or even economic trends.
Wow.
I mean, the possibilities just explode
They do.
if the AI can actually engage in this more sustained and complex thought.
So it sounds like this unified approach,
Yeah.
this blending of, linguistic intelligence with reasoning capabilities and memory could lead to something they're calling more sophisticated agentic behavior.
Yes.
Now, that sounds a bit like something out of a sci-fi movie.
It does a little bit.
So for our listeners out there,
Yeah.
what does that actually mean in practical terms?
So what's so interesting here is this idea that AI could move beyond just, responding to commands to actually taking more initiative to achieve goals. Think of it as evolving from a helpful but passive assistant to a more proactive digital agent.
I see.
This kind of AI could potentially learn from its experiences, manage more complex, multi-step tasks with less constant human direction.
So less hand-holding.
Exactly, and even anticipate needs.
Okay.
It's a significant step towards more autonomous AI systems.
Wow. It's pretty amazing.
It is.
But it's not just about raw processing power.
No, it's not.
There seem to be some really big side benefits.
Right.
For example, the idea of more responsible AI, because GPT-5 might be way better at explaining its own reasoning.
That's huge.
That's something that the earlier models really struggled with.
They did.
It was often like asking a magic 8-ball why it gave a certain answer.
Right.
I mean, you got a response.
He did.
But understanding the logic behind it was anyone's guess.
Exactly. And for you,
yeah,
that lack of transparency in how some AI models get to their conclusions has been a valid concern.
Right.
If GPT-5 can really explain its reasoning process, it builds trust.
It does.
And if we connect this to the problem of hallucination, when AI just makes stuff up.
Oh, yeah, confidently.
Yeah, right? The hope is that the improved logic and reasoning will act as a kind of internal fact checker and significantly reduce those instances.
Wow.
It's like having an AI that not only gives you an answer, but can show its work and double-check its sources, which is pretty incredible.
And let's not forget something that I know will be important to our listeners, the user experience.
Oh, yeah?
It sounds like OpenAI has been listening to feedback.
They have.
Especially about that clunky model picker.
Right.
Apparently, Altman himself said, and I quote, "We hate the model picker too."
He did.
Which, as someone who's fumbled through those drop-down menus, is music to my ears.
Oh, I bet.
The idea of having all these impressive Omni features and other capabilities seamlessly integrated just sounds like a much smoother experience.
It does.
More intuitive experience.
It does. And that improved user experience could be a real game changer for wider adoption.
Right.
Especially for you out there,
Right.
For those of you who've been hesitant to really dive into generative AI, a more streamlined, user-friendly platform could be a lot more appealing.
Makes sense.
Professionals who rely on accurate AI tools might feel more confident trusting those capabilities if they understand how the AI is arriving at its conclusions.
I see.
And everyday users could find it increasingly helpful with everyday tasks without needing a PhD in AI model selection.
Right.
It's about making powerful AI feel less like a complicated science project and more like a reliable and accessible tool.
So now, of course, OpenAI isn't operating in a vacuum here.
No.
The AI arena is getting crowded.
It is.
With some serious contenders stepping into the ring.
Oh, yeah.
We've got Google's Gemini, Anthropic's, Claude, Microsoft's Copilot, all vying for that top spot.
Right.
And we can't forget the recent buzz around DeepSeek.
DeepSeek is interesting.
Apparently their model was far less costly to create.
Really?
Which reportedly sent a bit of a shockwave through the U.S. tech stock market.
Wow.
It's like a budget airline suddenly building a supersonic jet.
Yeah.
It definitely makes everyone else,
sit up and take notice.
Pay attention.
Absolutely. And for you, this highlights a crucial aspect of the competition.
Okay.
The balance between performance and cost effectiveness.
Right.
And then you've got Elon Musk making waves with Grok 3.
Oh, yeah.
Confidently claiming that it's going to be the smartest AI on Earth.
I know, it's crazy.
It is a bit like a high-stakes poker game with everyone making these bold claims.
Yeah, it is.
And what's also interesting is that some competitors are using open source software
to
build their models.
Interesting. Yeah.
And Altman seems to acknowledge that this could be a significant advantage for them.
How so?
Well, it could potentially foster more collaboration and different development pathways.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's definitely something to watch.
Yeah.
Even with all this intense competition,
yeah,
it's important to remember
yes,
that ChatGPT powered by GPT-4,
Uh-huh.
still stands out as the most fully featured,
Yeah.
efficient, and downright useful chatbot
Yeah.
and LLM available to consumers.
It really is.
It's the reigning champion
It is.
in many respects,
Yeah.
even with all these new challengers lining up.
Yeah.
So GPT-5 has a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
It needs to not just maintain that lead, but build upon it.
It does.
It's not just about being the best chatbot today. It's about setting the stage for the future of artificial intelligence.
Exactly. And it needs to do more than just maintain that lead.
Yes.
It needs to continue its legacy.
It does.
While paving the way for the next generation of AI tools.
I agree.
So now, before we get to the main event,
Okay.
GPT-5, it sounds like we're getting one final encore from the GPT-4 family. Apparently, there's a GPT 4.5 in the pipeline.
Interesting.
And this version has a pretty important distinction, doesn't it?
It does. GPT 4.5 will be the last non-chain of thought model. Now, for those of you who might not be familiar with the inner workings of AI, chain of thought essentially means that the model can break down complex problems into a series of smaller, more manageable steps, effectively showing its working or its line of reasoning. The fact that GPT 4.5 will be the last of the models without this ability really shows how important this reasoning capability is becoming.
Becoming the standard?
It's no longer going to be an optional add-on. It's becoming a fundamental part of how these advanced AI systems work.
Wow.
And this really highlights why the unified approach to reasoning in GPT-5 is such a potential game changer.
It really does.
It does.
So, to sum it all up for you, we're looking at GPT-5 as this huge leap forward.
Right.
It's combining those amazing language skills we're already used to with a much more powerful and integrated reasoning capability.
Exactly.
This could lead to AI that doesn't just respond, but can actually think, predict, and plan with greater accuracy and reliability.
And hopefully with fewer errors.
Right, and all packaged in a more user-friendly experience.
Exactly. It's about making it easier for everyone to use. And all of this is happening within a really competitive AI landscape.
It is.
Even as the current frontrunner, GPT-4, prepares to pass the torch with one last iteration that highlights this shift towards reasoning-first AI.
It's an exciting time.
It is. So if we bring this back to you, the listener, I want you to consider this.
Okay.
What totally new applications and maybe even big societal shifts might become possible when AI can actually reason and understand language in this unified and seamless way.
It's hard to even imagine.
Think beyond the things we're using AI for right now, like chatbots and image generators. What are the bigger implications of AI that can think for longer, deeper, and harder? What really complex challenges could we finally solve? What completely new innovations might we unlock?
I think that's a great question for all of us to consider.
It is. I think that's the most important question.
It is.
As we look ahead.
As we look ahead to the future of AI.